Hey there again, everyone. Since I want this series to be as beginner-friendly as possible, I decided that the first video should be a brief overview of the fundamentals of both Java and programming in general. I'll be discussing things like the main method, variables, print statements, and a few other concepts and ideas that you need to know to start programming. So, if you've worked in Java before or any other programming environment, you can probably skip this video, but it never hurts to refresh your memory. Bear in mind that there will be a little bit more in this video than there will be in most, so it's going to be a little bit longer. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off by talking about the main method, since most things you'll do will take place inside of it. Every Java application must have a main method. Most basic programs you write will consist of a class and a main method, whose header will look like the one in the code below. For the time being, you don't need to know exactly what either of these things are, as they'll be discussed more in later videos. The important thing is that you know that they are a crucial piece of the programs you'll be writing. On this slide, I provided a table showing a few of the special characters set aside in Java. I'm only going to brush over these, but don't worry, you'll hear more about them as the video goes on. 2 forward slashes denotes a comment. A comment in a Java program is not read by the compiler. Opening and closing parentheses are used in method headers, and opening and closing braces are used to enclose a group of statements such as the contents of a class, a method, as well as some other things. You'll learn more about the last two things later. Quotation marks enclose a string of characters such as a message that is to be printed onto the screen. Lastly, the semicolon is used to mark the end of a complete programming statement. Keep in mind that there is no need to use a semicolon after your class name or main method. Alright, time to move on to print statements. The print line method is used to display output on the screen. After the statement is executed, the cursor is then moved to the next line. A sample print line statement looks like this. The print method is also used to display output to the screen, but without advancing the cursor to the next line. The code below demonstrates a sample print statement. This table contains a few common escape sequences that you can use in print statements. \n is used to move to the next line. \t will tab over one position before continuing output. \b will backspace one character, and \r will move the cursor back to the beginning of the current line. 2 backslashes will print off a single backslash, a backslash followed by a single quote will print off a single quote, and a backslash followed by a double quote will print off a double quote. Variables. Better get used to these guys because you're going to be seeing a lot of them as you continue to program. A variable is a named storage location in the computer's memory that allows you to store and work with data. There are a number of different types of variables as well as several ways to create them, which I'll go over in the slides to follow. This table contains the primitive numeric data types found in Java. On the left are the names of the data types, in the center are the amounts of memory they use, and on the right are the ranges that each can hold. Most of the time you won't be concerned with the byte sizes of your variables, so you can probably disregard this information until later. While all of these data types have their uses, the two you'll probably use most often are ints for integers and doubles for decimal numbers. Be sure to keep track of the numbers you're storing to avoid exceeding your variable's capacity. The next two primitive data types I'll talk about are boolean and char. The boolean data type allows you to create variables that may hold one of two possible values, true or false. Boolean variables are most useful when evaluating if a condition is true or false. We'll discuss booleans more later in the series. The char data type is used to store characters. When you assign a character to a variable, you must enclose it in single quotes. Bear in mind that a char variable can hold only one character at a time. So how does one go about creating a variable? There are 3 terms generally associated with variable creation. Declaring a variable simply means creating a variable in memory without assigning it any value. The example below declares an integer called number. Assigning to a variable means giving it some sort of value associated with its data type. In this example, I have assigned the value 15 to the variable I declared above. Initializing a variable is a combination of both declaring a variable and assigning it a value in the same statement. Here you can see that I've declared a character called letter and initialized it to the letter F. Numeric variables can be manipulated using arithmetic operators. I've created a chart showing 5 basic operators and some examples using them. These should be pretty straightforward, so I won't talk about all of these. I will, however, touch on the modulus operator since it tends to be the one that confuses people the most. The example, remainder equals num mod 3, will store the remainder of num divided by 3 into the variable remainder. So if num were 8, then the value of remainder would be 2, since that's the remainder of 8 divided by 3. Bear in mind that when working with multiple operators in the same statement, the order of precedence is the same as with normal math. Parentheses come before exponents, which come before multiplication and division, which comes before addition and subtraction. On this slide, I've listed some combined operators coupled with their example usage and what they are equivalent to. Once again, I don't think it's necessary for me to go over each one in detail, but these are here for you to pause and look over if you so choose. Using these won't affect the efficiency of your program in any way, and are only really in place for the convenience of the programmer. Okay, so I started recording this video, and as I started moving through it, I realized it was going to be way too long if I made it all one big thing. So what I decided to do is go ahead and stop this video here, and then keep recording into 2, maybe 3 total videos. But I wanted to go ahead and get this one out, put it up, let people watch it, get comments on it, get feedback, and maybe improve the next part of it. So let me know what you think, and enjoy!